This week's topic comes from Nate, who wanted to know how to shift from feeling like he was only existing to feeling like he was really living. In the first video in the playlist, I talked about when a time I felt like I was only existing and found a way to really live. In the next video, I talked about how I shifted from feeling like I was only existing to feeling like I'm really living. And in this video, I'm focusing on a time I felt like I was really living. In the next video, we'll be meditating together, and then you'll see the Friday ditty or the fridity where I pull it all together and get a little more poetic and a little more nerdy and make sense of the journey. All the videos will appear in the playlist from only existing to really living. So if you have a question like Nate did, comment below or DM me on Instagram. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself. The question I'm starting with today is, when was a time you felt like you were really living? When was a time I felt like I was really living? I think a time in recent history is actually last week. The water pipe broke. I was fasting. I was doing a 5-day fast. And I decided, you know what? What the heck? I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to go it was like 30 degrees throughout the night, and I live in California, so it's usually nice and warm here. So I already do cold showers, but in this particular moment, it was like I need to choose a challenge that I choose. You know, having the water out was a challenge I didn't choose. Fasting was a challenge I chose. And I decided, for whatever reason, last week that I needed another one. And I think it was to help me, well, I know getting in the cold water does help reset the nervous system and does a couple different things like that. And you can look all that up on Dr. Google. But for me, I really felt like I was living when I got out of the pool. I think I was in there for about 2 minutes. It was it was work. And I think like it forces me to go into that place. Now, I can get to that same place with meditation. But I think in meditation, there's probably a little more work to get to that core center. Meditation is very important for me. And when I went into that cold water, it was, I used all the tools I gained from meditation. And the next question is, what made it easy? What made it easy to get into the water? You know, the person that was with me said I just walked straight into the water, which I did. And I went into that place of meditation, that internal place. And I think what made it easy is that I practiced that on a daily basis. In fact, because of my pain disorder, I meditate for, 3+ hours a day. And it helps me to cope and manage with the pain. So I think because I practice that regularly, that's what makes doing something like that easy. Do some people struggle with getting into that internal place? I'm going to say yes. And I know I used to struggle. And I think sometimes I still do. And that's actually pretty great to be able to acknowledge. So, but that's not the question. The next question is, what about your makeup makes it easy? I think my tenacity and my determination make it easy to do hard things even when there are other hard things happening. And you know, in life, there's no telling when the hard things are going to come up. And I think for me, I needed to know in that moment that I could choose a hard thing too. And I'm not going to die if I choose a hard thing. And I think it also gave me that confidence that I could keep handling, if the water stayed out for a few more days or whatever was going to happen next, that if I could handle that cold water, if I could live in that water and I could get out of that water and feel my body tingling and be excited about it, then I could also be excited about the fact that we didn't have running water at the house, and that when the water's running again, I'm going to be just as excited. And that's funny. I was just as excited as I was when I got out of that water. That's beautiful. What did you do to experience the feeling of really living? Well, first I made a conscious choice to do something that I believed was going to help me feel like I was really living. For instance, in my early 20s, I made the scary choice to jump out of a perfectly working airplane. Yes, I went skydiving. I think there's another way to say that statement, but that's what I did. And it was really, I think, a conscious choice to say, hey, I want to live and I want to experience these great things in life. There was another time that I went spelunking, which is cave, where we went in caves. And I'm so glad I did all these things early in life, because I wouldn't be capable of doing them now. And that was so cool because we got to swim through an underwater river. And was it scary? Yeah. Were there tight places? Yeah. And I made it. And I think that mattered because I needed to know I could do hard things and make it. So what does it say about me that I do that? I think it says that I'm willing to get a little bit uncomfortable, and I really consciously work at being comfortable in the uncomfortable, because my perspective is that life will throw us curveballs, and while I would love for it to be predictable, the reality of it is life is not predictable, and we can't. Life, if anything, is surprising. And I know that there is a quote that's coming to mind, like, something about mistakes and because you didn't anticipate something, but the real reality of it is that we can't anticipate everything, and maybe the real lesson is that surprising things happen in life. And so sometimes I have to remind myself of that. And I think that's when I'm only existing, that's when I want to remind myself that I really am living. So how do you know that really living impacts those around you? I think I'm a better person, and I know that my joy is infectious to them. And then they get to try new things. And when I see them stepping into new things, that helps me also feel like I am really living, because I'm getting to go on that journey with them. And I just think that is the coolest thing. Does everyone have that ability? No, I don't think so. Everyone does not have. I think that we go through phases probably to shift, but how does the way I shift or find a way to really live, how does that help others? I think I go into it joyously, and because I do that, others are willing to enjoy challenging situations as well, and they're willing to take to challenge themselves in a way that they get to start feeling like they're really living too. And I think too is it shows that loving judgment of I believe that every word is a judgment, so I think we're always making judgments. But what I'm trying to get at is that when I can see someone else having joy, it brings me joy. And because I don't judge harshly, I celebrate like the failures and the challenges, and behind me, you can't see it, it's actually hidden, it's the one with the gloves. That little saying talks about it's from the Teddy Roosevelt book, and it's not book, the talk, Daring Greatly, I believe is what it was, but it talks about, the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. And I think when I'm really living, I'm in that arena. I'm trying new things, and it's beautiful and scary. And I love that I get to live. So what signs will tell you that you are on the right track to really living? I'm going to know that I'm in the arena. I'm going to feel challenged. And I'm going to know that I've gotten through hard things. 100% of my challenges to date, I've gotten through. So statistically speaking, I'm going to get through the next one. I just have to remember that. And part of that is really living. All of those challenges, that's where life happens. So what do you can do now? I can make it through those hard things. And where are you more able to really live now? I think most everywhere. Because I think when I give myself permission to really live, then I can also be myself, and I don't have to hide who that is for the people around. I don't have to worry about the social judgments and the things like that. Like, I just live and I love. And isn't that fantastic? I would love to hear from you. When have you found a way to really live, and how did you do that? Comment below, DM me on Instagram, or you could even post a video on social media and tag me. I'm actually really looking forward to hearing your stories. These videos from this playlist will be located in the playlist From Only Existing to Really Living. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself.